Hi everyone, welcome to our group video presentation on the corruption and dishonesty as an attitude problem in Papua New Guinea. Today our group will stand united to discuss the serious issue that is affecting our country. Deep down into it, corruption and dishonesty are not just happening with government, but they are also occurring in schools, villages or communities, workplace and even in the homes of Papua New Guinea. The research and investigation have shown that corruption refers to the leaders or people in power using money or resources for their own benefits instead of helping the people, and in contrast, then dishonesty talks about lying, stealing or hiding the truth for personal gain. Thus, our second speaker, Ms. Julian Kem, will discuss more on mismanagement of schools fund as an example of corruption and dishonesty in education sector. Furthering to it, our third speaker, Ms. Vero Henry, will discuss in details the bribery in daily lives. Moving on, our fourth speaker, Mr. Karibakula, will highlight the impacts of corruption on PNG's development, and the fifth speaker, Ms. Lucy Gons, will conclude what we as citizens of this developing country called Papua New Guinea can do about corruption and dishonesty to minimize or totally disrupt the practicing of corruption in our country.
School funds in education sector. Missing school funds and dishonest practices in schools, especially in islands. I will talk about the real life experiences and examples in our own region, and we know for sure of. In this case, let me tell you a story, which I have seen it with my own eyes in my area. The government funds money to build broken classrooms and toilets in my former high school, in my local area. Guess what? The money disappeared. The school board and even the headmaster said that they never received anything. And the builder was a ghost company, meaning it didn't exist. Students continued using broken toilets, and teachers had no proper classroom space. Later, the community found out that only half of the money was spent, and the rest was wasted. This is dishonesty. The poor innocent students paid the price with poor learning conditions. School leaders buy materials at a higher price and keep the extra money. For example, buying chalk for 100 kina when it costs 20 kina. This is dishonesty. Funds means for building classrooms or buying books are misused for personal things like travel fares and lunches. Even headmasters or board members cannot even explain how school money was spent. No receipt or financial report are provided. This is not happening only in my area, but this happens across PNG. Money disappeared while students and teachers suffer. In such cases, we must think critically and ask ourselves a questions like, where is transparency and where is accountability? This is how corruption directly affects education sector in Papua New Guinea. When leaders or people in charge steal, students like you and me suffer. That's why it is important to be honest in every small things we do, even in school.
Bribery in daily life in Papua New Guinea. Bribery is a big problem in Papua New Guinea that affects many parts of life. It hurts trust in government and makes it hard for people to get basic services like healthcare and education. For example, patients may have to pay bribes for better medical care, and students might need to pay to get into schools. Bribery also happens in the police force, where officers may ask for bribes to ignore small crimes, making people lose faith in the justice system. Let me give you a common example from my experience and eyewitness. A man was stopped by traffic officer for driving without a license. Instead of giving a proper fine, the officer whispered and told him, "Give me 50 kina and I'll let you go." That's bravery, illegal, and dishonest. This creates unfairness as those who can pay get better treatment. This kind of corruption is common in Papua New Guinea. Some public servants ask for brief explanation before they do their job. In every way, there is a system called money works in PNG. They even ask for brief explanation to do their job, like processing documents, offering services, enrollment, or giving permits. It's become so normal that people think it's the normal way, but this is destroying our trust. Also, leaders' corruption starts at the bottom and reaches the top level, which is the government. Business, especially small ones, struggle with bravery when trying to get permits or license, which stops them from growing and discourages outside investment. To fight bravery, the government has made some laws, but enforcing them is tough. Non-profit groups are working to educate people and promote honesty. However, Many many see bravery as a normal way to solve problems, making it harder to change. Bravery doesn't solve problems, but it creates more conflict. Bravery in PNG is a serious issue that affects trust, the economy, and fairness. Tackling it needs a mix of new laws, community involvement, and a shift in how people think about honesty and create a better society. We need honest leaders, honest policemen, and honest citizens to build better Papua New Guinea.
The corruption in Papua New Guinea. It is protested by its leader and other such as administrative heads, together with those who are in position of making decisions for groups such as organizations, companies, non-government organizations, and other similar organizations. The example of corruption that this group of people practice has its origin in PNG and is not introduced by people from other countries. The device culture of Papua New Guinea is responsible for this immoral practice being commonly practiced in this country. In some of this culture, corruption was practiced and was accepted by people in those society. The wealth which was given to assist in can be viewed today as a form of bribery or corruption. The traditional bribery practices and other similar corruption customary practices are incorporated into this modern day of Papua New Guinea society. PNG is a Christian country. This practice could be classified as an immoral practice. However, Christian principles stated that the corruption is not right. People keep on practicing it. This immoral practice is mostly practiced by the people who are being led, and they want to serve personal interest rather than those lead or representing the people. There are a lot of types of corruption that are practicing in PNG. However, the most commonly practiced are bribery, misappropriation of funds, and nepotism, or it's called one-dog system. These practices are affecting the way of Papua New Guinea live, think, and feel about themselves and about their country. Corruption is robbing PNG and its people and is making them poor. The misappropriation of public funds in PNG seems as the gap when the people's money is entering the pockets of their leaders. It is a faster way a person could be rich in the world as many could predict. It is a practice where a fund is not being used for its intended purpose, but it's set aside for personal use. Members of Parliament and other leaders are well known for practicing this type of corruption. The leader give more money for themselves and they give very little or nothing to their people. This leader released a false statement that the fund was used for a particular purpose. In doing so, there is no enough money for service, delivery, and a lot of people suffer lack of basic service like road, bridge, church, and
Corruption and dishonesty in Papua New Guinea. Corruption is a big problem, but changes start with you and me. We also need stronger laws and leaders who truly shape the people. But most importantly, PNG need honest future leaders like you and me. So we must practice honesty, maintain integrity, and gain trust from the general public or the surrounding communities. To solve the missing funds in education sector, independent audience should check school, and those who misuse funds should face legal consequences. To solve the daily bribery in PNG, the government should strengthen law enforcement by enforcing existing anti-corruption laws strictly and investigate and prosecute those who offer or accept bribes regardless of their status. Enforce stronger laws and penalties. Apply tough penalties to individual or business involved in corruption. Require public officials to declare their assets. Ensure government contracts, budget, and spending are made public and easy to access. Involve community in local development, planning, and budget monitoring. Provide safe channel for whistleblowers to report corruption. We, the younger generation, are the future leaders of Papua New Guinea. If we grow up valuing honesty and integrity, we can change this country. Let's all stand for integrity. If we stay silent, corruption will go. But if we act, we can build a better Papua New Guinea. Let's be brave, speak up, and share the good examples. Stop corruption before it starts with you and me.
I, on behalf of my group, would like to make recommendation on awareness of corruption in Papua New Guinea in two perspectives. Number one, personal requirements or what an individual citizen of Papua New Guinea needs to do. As an individual, we need to have in mind that this country's corruption will not change before changing mindsets or attitudes of an individual citizens. This is commonly required as every citizen's duty in looking after the country. For example, if we found a lost property and returning it to the owner by expecting commission instead of returning it for humanities, it is the beginning of corruption and bribery. This means if we can't manage to be Mr. or Mrs. Clean, we can't blame people in powers, leaders of an organization or departmental heads and parliamentarians about the big corruption, because when ourselves are not changing, yet how do we expect other human beings like us to change? We as an individuals need to change completely, so everyone will change by seeing us changing as an example to them. Number two, government's adjustment on legislative matter in implementing laws and judiciary system to interpret implemented laws without interference. In Papua New Guinea, the honesty and corruption rate is high-tech. Government doesn't need to oversee the power vested to several legal heads. We need to have executive arms of government which is dedicated to perform their respective and all specific tasks as far as separation of power is concerned. For instance, legislator makes laws while judiciary interprets and or act upon those laws which is not operating individually as how it's supposed to be due to bribery, leading corruption. In reality, Papua New Guinea's government is overriding the vested powers which high corruption that needs to make correction and do their dedicated duties are totally overseen by funding huge amount of monies to heads of department for listening their instruction only. And this highest peak of corruption that needs change, so corruption will totally disappear in our beautiful country and operate in truth, honesty, and non-bribery. Thank you.